This is the final episode of this session of Poker Time, Grant.
But that doesn't mean Poker Time's ending.
No, it comes every Tuesday.
New
It's like
session.
it's like the post office. They come every Tuesday. Only on Tuesdays now, by
Is
the way.
that true?
People.
I didn't know.
New rules. New rules for the post office.
There is Jake Dahl. Jake Dahl is notable because Glenn Langford correctly found the pink sheep on his sweater from 2 episodes ago.
If you look, you can't see it in this shot, but you will be able to see it probably as the episode
You can look through our
continues.
Twitter timeline. We retweeted it.
Yeah, that's right.
So Glenn Langford gets 5% of any profits Jake Dahl makes for the session. This is his last chance.
He's definitely down. He's probably down a full buy-in or nearly that, so he's going to need
He's got
to
about
make some
40
comeback.
minutes to make Glenn some money.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have a bit of a cooler here with K6 with 2 queens raising and Digital Dan calling with the 2 10s. Action Aaron has limped with the King 6 suited and is going to see a flop with these guys. Randy also in there. What a surprise. Randy and Aaron are both in it.
I mean, for them, they have near the top of their range. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, you're right. That is not the flop K6 was looking for. It's a great flop for Action Aaron. I would say right now, Action Aaron is a favorite to win this pot. And I know
Yes.
not equity-wise, but like as it plays out, I think he's most likely to win.
He's the guy who's most willing to put chips in right now, right?
And
You have
that
to be.
8 is another bad card for K6.
Yeah. Especially against a guy like Aaron who can really have trip 8s. And an ace and
Can't
everything
really
else.
fold with 2 queens. I guess you can.
You
but
can. With 2 guys behind you, you
It's-
can.
Nobody bet the flop, though.
Randy didn't bet the turn, so you don't have to worry about him that much. But Digital Dan behind you is not great.
He often will bet top pair on the flop, though. Against
That's
these
true,
guys.
especially once we checked. Yeah, that's a good point. Digital Dan, thinking about it, I think you kind of just have to fold. Although the question I think he's wondering is, what in the world does K6 have that he plays this way?
Well, it's kind of face up, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I mean, I agree. It's usually kings, queens, jacks, and maybe 8s, maybe 9s, not 8s,
Yeah.
sorry. Since we have the 2 10s, there's only one combo of that left.
Is
Sorry,
Action-
Dan, Jack's got there.
Is Action going to take a shot here?
He should.
Is it going to be Action Aaron?
Let's do this. What do we think K6 has? I mean, K6 looks like he has exactly what he has, but
Yeah, he
that-
gives up, and K6 gladly turns over the queens. I
I think a big chunky bet there might have gotten through.
also think that would have been a good play because we can easily rep an 8 as Aaron there.
Yep.
We could have so many different 8s in our hand. We're Action Aaron.
Yeah. By the way, if we had a good ace or even a reasonable ace, we can even bet that because K6 was the raiser. He rarely is going to have.
Yeah,
an
but we're mostly repping an 8. But that's
no
enough.
question. No
That's
question.
enough.
Yeah, it's enough. I think a chunky bet gets through most of the time, profitably anyway.
Yes, I
That
agree.
time. It is easier when you can see the cards, but what are you going to do, Grant? We can see the cards.
Yeah, we're not going to take that away from us.
We're not going to pretend we can't see. Hey, let's pretend we can't see the cards just for this hand. What does everyone have? I don't know.
Well, we can't see them yet, but I can see that one. That's Action Aaron limping Queen 6 under the gun.
So you got-
K6 limping King 9.
A lot of limping right now, folks.
These aren't the best hands.
No.
Dan has a reasonable hand to limp with.
I'm glad, Randy. It should be more. It should be bigger, but I'm glad.
20's never going to get it done.
No. Action Aaron.
Aaron is 3-betting.
Limpy raise with the Queen 6
Once again,
suited.
that's never going to get it done, though. He makes it 55 over 20.
I mean,
There's a 0% chance of this getting through. We have Queen 6. Let's
okay,
make it bigger.
But we are going to isolate Randy almost always. Now, it turns out we're not.
No,
but
we just
you would
got
think
called everywhere.
We're really supposed to be able to isolate Randy with this. I love that shot. To 55.
I mean, come on, though. We got to make it more than that.
I mean, sure. 70, 75 is going to be a more
Randy
effective
should have
spot
made it
there.
more, and Aaron should have made it more.
Randy flops a gutter.
Dan
and Digital
has
Dan
a
with top
7.
pair.
You think Dan will lead, even
Well,
though
it's not leading at this point.
not because Aaron checked? So
So
it's
Dan
reasonable.
can bet or he can check. The problem with checking is there's so many. I mean, every card in the world is pretty much bad, right?
right, a 9's not even that great. It's pretty good.
A
but,
9's
like,
pretty good.
a,
What do we-
7's great
How is a 9 not great?
because then I mean, like other people could hit a 9, and then there are a lot of outs they have on the river that you have to worry about.
mean,
a
not a
7's
lot.
a
Not-
7's better.
They have 3
all I'm
outs on the
saying,
river.
all I'm saying is a 7's
A
better.
9 is a great card.
A 9 is a good card. Although it doesn't help you against overpairs.
No, it does not. But that's the same situation we're in. Anyway, this is a great outcome for Dan with his hand. He shows top pair because he loves to show his hand.
Just gets to win $175 like that.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to start calling him Gloveless Dan instead of Digital Dan because he loves to show his hands.
That's
Pretty clever, huh?
clever. Is
Gloveless Dan.
clever is an adjective that people sometimes use.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Gloveless Dan. All right. You know why they call him Gloveless Dan?
Because he chose his hands.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I already said that.
But there's only one reason they call him Gloveless Dan.
Yeah, as opposed to the whole digital thing. All right. The limping continues. Come on, Digital Dan. Bump it up. There you go.
Still, he goes for 20. With the limp, I think 30 is more likely to actually fold out a lot of the table.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, you're right. But that said,
And Randy's going to 3-bet to 40.
So that's not going to work either. Randy and Aaron are pretty price insensitive with their. So 30 and 20 isn't going to change it. But Batiste probably is going to be, and Jake are going to fold much more often.
But King Jack is a value hand against their ranges. We'd rather charge them more, right?
I agree. That's a good point. Anyway, Randy does bump it up, and the digital one will call. We got three-way action here. Everyone has a reasonable hand.
Lots of spades out there.
Can't say that very often in this game, but right now,
Yeah.
all three players, reasonable hands. No spades.
We got the worst hand flopping best.
Let's see if Randy takes a shot. He
No, we're
quickly
gonna check
checks.
through here.
I like that check on that board.
That's a pretty wet turn card right there. Although it doesn't really improve anybody, Dan picks up a gut shot, but it's a very wet card, and Randy's now repping the queen.
Yep, he's repping ace queen pretty reasonably.
I think this is going to work because the 6 is just in a horrible spot now with Dan behind him, left to act.
I don't see how K6 can call, and he's out. I assume Digital Dan's going to have to fold 2 flush draws out there. He's not even drawing to a clean. There's only 2 clean 10s to the nuts. And that Digital Dan digitally disagrees with me, apparently.
Maybe he thinks his implied odds against Randy are so good.
Yeah, well, that's not going to help anybody.
So
there's
I was wondering if maybe he was going to make a move there.
Nope, he's just not going to push it. Randy's going to bet for bluffing, I have to believe.
Bet for bluffing, yes.
Instead of, I was going to say value, but it can't be value.
It's not valued.
So it's got to be a bluff.
He's bluffing with the best hand. I don't think it's necessarily a good time. This might play better as a check back.
I think you're probably right. I mean, look at all the draws that missed and how none of them got there. I guess 4-5 got there.
Yeah.
So unlikely anyone has 4-5. So besides that, Jack 10, 7, 8, hearts and diamonds all miss. Ace High's good against all those things.
And I don't think Dan's going to fold top pair. For sure, Dan's not folding top pair. It's questionable whether he'll fold a 9 or a 6. Maybe he'll fold a deuce, but
he might fold a 6. He might fold a 9.
Point being, it's kind of hard to fold out the hands we want to fold.
Yeah, it's possible Randy thinks Dan's going to play a flush draw or straight draw more aggressively.
Yeah.
So that's why he's betting here, but I don't think that's true based on what we know about the digital one.
I think just taking your showdown value might be slightly better there.
Yeah. But it would have been pretty cool to get called because Digital Dan thought about it.
Yeah, that would have been incredible.
Oh, Randy would have said, "Oh, you got it, you got it."
Yep.
And then turned over his hand.
Yep.
And then bedlam.
Yes.
Would have happened.
Everybody
next.
would have just like ripped their clothes off and ran around.
Digital Dan gonna call with the ace-5 suited.
We got some relatively deep stacks here.
Wonka looking like he belongs on the set of Chips with those sunglasses up there like that.
Yeah, he looks pretty neat.
Pretty neat, huh?
Yeah.
That's what we're saying? Okay. Sure, why not?
Had a bit of a limp fest so far here.
And we are going to see an unraised pot, an unraised flop.
We got 2 queen 8s out there. They both flop middle pair. Action Aaron flops an open ender, and he's going to lead. I like that.
Yep, me too. K6 with the quick call. And Batiste feels like he has to call at least once with the back door. And, of course, middle pair.
That is
Death card.
an action killer. I mean, the
Horrible.
straights and flushes come in here.
Horrible card. Checks through for everyone. Makes sense. That king, I mean, the guys who have the 8s have to believe they have a chance to have the best hand.
Right.
They have a reasonable hand.
K6 is going to lead for a third of the pot, which makes it look a bit like what it is, a blocker bet here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Batiste trying to decide. All 3 options are reasonable here for Batiste. He's got Aaron behind him, so he just looked at Aaron there. Should he call? He could raise the blocker bet and maybe take it all. Maybe he should just fold, though. Stay out of the way.
I got to believe Batiste was going to bet if K6 had checked. I think Batiste was going to go for some
I think so.
thin value there, like K6 is doing.
I think you're right. Thing is, K6 often can have a king here, right?
Yes, he
He'd
can.
play a king just like this.
Although, I don't know, his sizing might be transparent. It's possible that he would bet bigger with a king.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Anyway, he gets called by the worst hand and folds out the chop. It's an incredible deal for
That's
K6.
a really good spot.
Hallelujah. That's what's going on inside K6 head.
I don't know. I don't know if Aaron can beat that much there on the river. I guess
No.
he can beat specifically 5-7.
Okay, that's turning his hand into a bluff?
It's like a super blocker bet.
Yeah, that's it, right? Because the flushes come in, the straights come in, kings are betting, 8s might bet, and most other hands are going to check.
Yeah.
So that's not good.
It was only $20 though.
That's true. You know what? It was super cheap, and he had a showdownable hand. It can't
Yeah.
be that wrong. That's a good way to look at it.
Haven't seen Taylor play yet this session or this episode. He's definitely played in the session.
The session, of course, when we say the session, folks, we're referring to the last 5 episodes, which is also these guys are all playing against each other. This is the last episode of this session with all these players. We'll be back, of course, next Tuesday with more poker time and more
Brand new
players.
session.
Yep, going to be new players as well as some of these players. But right now,
Hey, look at this, Glenn Langford. Jake Dahl getting involved in a pot.
Glenn Langford holding out, hope for that 5%. One big double up, and you got a real shot at this, man.
Well,
10 high board could be a problem.
it
But
could
there's
be,
only
it could
one
be
10 left.
a problem, yeah.
Just 1 10 left, though. This is going to be fine. Jake Dahl's going to win this hand. I'm predicting it. And then he's gonna triple up.
All right, I'll take the field. You take Jake?
Done. $1,000.
All right. You heard it.
Uh-oh. I like Digital Dan's spot in this, I'll tell you
Yeah,
what.
that's pretty good. Randy's going to bet bottom pair.
He's just bluffing here, and
Yeah.
he knows it.
He blocks bottom set.
Yep. There you go.
And there goes.
I guess he's not just bluffing. He's also protecting.
There goes Jake.
He's protecting.
K6 hasn't folded yet with his 10-8 on this board.
I don't know. Are we going to raise? Raise, I guess we could raise? Nope.
He's calling.
We're calling.
He's okay.
Go ahead.
In theory, I think there's some cool thought behind this potentially.
Yeah.
If you're going to rep an ace against a wide player like Randy, repping an ace is something that's difficult to do on a board like this because you want to raise, but would you actually raise ace-jack here? Of course you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
So you could just call and then try to take it away later. Oh, well, Dan's
speaking of-
raising
yeah.
ace-10. It's a little different because there's a bet and a call.
It's-
slightly different.
Slightly, yeah.
It's weird. I don't think.
I mean,
don't
this
know.
is it's a wet board, and Dan probably thinks that K6 has a lot of hearts, I guess, in his range. Also probably thinks he's likely to have the best hand a lot, right?
Yeah, Randy's messing around. K6 has middle pair or hearts or something like that.
Even
and
if K6 has an ace, he often has a worse ace than
Yeah.
this.
it's
So it's you often have the best hand. I don't know if that's the best value proposition there.
right, you might be able to get value more easily later in the hand. I guess he's protecting against things, but those things are going to call anyway.
Coming
I guess
back-
we're charging them.
Yeah. Coming back to the K6 decision there. So, I don't know. I would like there to be at least one club on the board if he's going to make that
Yeah.
play. Also, having Digital Dan behind him is not super great. And
Yeah.
also, being out of position sort of sucks.
But I like the thought behind it. I
Yeah.
think I would like to have seen how that played out had Dan not raised.
Me too. And we've seen K6 make that play before successfully on this show. Digital Dan with a real hand.
That's Action Aaron with a real hand. Taylor with an obligational call.
Yep. He's just getting too good a price closing the action. Completely reasonable. You have to do it. Clubs would be nice. Well, 3 of them for Taylor.
Well, that's a great flop for Digital Dan.
No one really has anything, though.
Yeah,
so
unfortunately for him, it's going to be hard to get action. Aaron even checks it back.
that's an even better turn.
Nobody made a flush, but Aaron has the 10 high flush draw.
It's checked to him twice. Aaron does bet here. It's not terrible. Makes sense. Digital Dan,
So raise or call? That's the question here.
against a lot of players, you probably have to raise and just win a small pot right now. But against Action Aaron specifically, who loves to bluff rivers, I like just a call here. Maybe if a big spade comes, we could bet to make sure he doesn't check it back.
He's not going to check back a flush.
If it's a medium flush, he might call but might check it back.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, now we just have to check because the spade draws.
Oh,
missed.
he's going to bet.
What in the world does Aaron ever have that he can call here?
Ace 9 with the 9 of spades. or the ace of
The
spades.
ace of spades, yeah.
Um,
He might have
yeah,
bet that anyway if we checked.
It's based on the flop action. It is hard for Aaron to really have anything there. I think probably letting him bluff would have been a slightly better plan.
Yeah, I think so. Also, because he has a tendency to bluff. If it's a tighter player like
Yeah.
Jake Dahl, maybe we just have to bet and pray he has something because he decided to bet the turn.
Jake might check some funky stuff on the flop too,
Yeah.
whereas Aaron's going to bet most of his value on
yeah,
the flop.
Batiste, another good guy maybe to dunk out on
Yeah.
the river against. Like maybe we missed our flush draw, so we're betting. But against Action Aaron, hey, it's a blind raise from Randy.
That's not a surprise.
I love it.
It's
30
a
bucks
big,
it looks
it's a
like.
big one. He usually does 15 or 20
Yep. He wants to make these guys uncomfortable.
with the 10-3.
Yeah. Well, he didn't know he had
He didn't
that.
choose the 10-3.
No, he just chose to put $30 in the pot, which is fair enough. And look, everyone goes away anyway. It's fine.
Looks like Dan has something worth playing.
Yep.
Queen 10. He's going to flat. Oh, we got a little bit of a slowdown in time.
As is going to happen sometime. By the way, A Wrinkle in Time coming out February 28th from Paramount Pictures.
Not a sponsor. All right, Dan is dominating Randy right here. Randy flops the flush draw, and Dan flops the gut shot and the backdoor second nut flush draw.
Now remember, Randy was the pre-flop raiser, but it was blind, so he can have anything here. Although he always seems to have a good hand, except right now.
Well, it turned into a
Yeah,
good hand.
it did.
I think Dan's probably going to peel one here.
In position with the backdoor.
He could have the best hand right
Flush
now,
draw.
which he does.
Yeah. Seems a little strange
Ooh.
to just give up, but give up he does.
They're deep, I think. Yeah, I mean, I understand giving up, but
Yeah.
against Randy, when Randy blind raised pre, I think it's okay to call also.
Yeah. You know why they call him Digital Dan?
Why is that?
He's, and a lot of people don't know this, he's actually the foremost collector of digital watches in southwestern Oregon.
Is that so?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
They are back in the day, not so much anymore. These are much more rare, but they actually have digital watch conventions. And Digital Dan, at that time, just
He has-
Dan. He
wait.
went, yeah.
He surpassed Timex Jeff?
Yes, he did. It was recent. It was a big,
Oh,
it's-
okay.
obviously, you're not really keeping up on
I'm
with
not.
the newsletter anymore.
Batista, 2 9s under the gun here.
I love this stuff.
He's going to get called by the 10-4 suited. That's the action Aaron we know and love.
And there's
the
King Deuce
Deuce
suited. Everyone loves King Deuce suited in this game. Wonka thinking with the Ace-3 suited. This is going to end up being a call. Although he
this
can consider a 3-bet.
Yeah, but it's Batiste raised under the gun. Batiste
Yeah.
has a reasonable under the gun range.
Absolutely. He's making a face as if
Randy's going to put
Whoa.
the 3-bet in.
Randy with the Ace-Jack. Also not doing great against Batiste under the gun value range. But
Right, but Randy squeezes all the time, and maybe
Yes.
he's like, I'm just going to add this in there.
I like the sizing at least. This is
Yeah.
nice and big, and it's not free or easy for anyone to call. Obviously,
He might actually get it through, but Batista
No.
has too good of a hand, and they are way too deep for him to consider folding.
Yeah, he was never getting this through against the 9s. Any pocket pair is going to be forced to call when they're both this deep. The effective stack is just way too
There's some things that are a little scary against a guy like Randy when you're Batiste with 2 9s here. Like
Like
usually in a spot like this, you can just say, okay, I'm just set mining. That's all I'm doing.
deep. Yeah.
You know, fit or fold on the flop, I'm done.
Mhm.
But against Randy, who squeezes a lot, on a 10 high flop, we could end up losing a lot of money if he actually has something.
I mean, this is true, but we can decide that later. Right now, we just are forced to call because
I agree.
sometimes we flop a set, and when we do, we make so much money against Randy's value that we just can't do anything but call.
Yeah, all I'm saying is it's not as straightforward a decision as against a tighter player.
Yeah, I hear that.
Randy's going to check. I think maybe this is the only type of hand he checks after 3-betting.
Well,
His middle
right.
pair type hand.
Right, queens, Ace-Jack,
2 10s maybe.
9s, even though we have 9s ourselves.
He's going to check again.
Interesting.
At some point, he's going to go for value, right? I mean, he's got to know his hand is best if Batiste checks again here.
Batiste could really bet here.
He could,
Not
mostly
let
to
the
protect
ace-queens.
against ace-queen
Yeah.
and ace-10 sometimes.
Although in the song, it's you and
Maybe get value out of pocket 8s once in a
Here,
while.
Randy goes for value. Looks like about half pot.
Is it even that much? No, it's less.
130, it looks like.
Incredible. I think it's 120.
Oh, 125.
Incredible value here for Batiste if he thinks he has a chance of having the best hand. He's getting pretty good price.
You can beat ace-queen and ace-10.
But would Randy really bet that? Maybe. Look at Randy confidently turn it over. He knows he's got to have the best hand. Batiste looking upset. Randy actually apologizes because Batiste is acting as though he was just dealt the worst beat in poker history.
I mean, he lost the race.
He did.
He lost the
did.
race.
I mean, in fairness, he was like 54% to start the hand.
Yeah.
So
That was
that's
a nice,
pretty tough.
nice value bet by Randy, by the way. I mean, by the river, it seemed pretty obvious, but
I mean, yeah.
not everybody pulls the trigger.
I mean, most people pull the trigger usually by the river, don't you think?
Yeah.
On a safe river like that?
Yeah,
That was super safe. It ran out crazy clean.
it did. Batiste could have 2 queens there sometimes, maybe, but it's not something you need to worry about too much, I guess.
And if he does, I mean, he's going to bet him if we check anyway, right? So
Yep.
it's fine.
That's not a hand that's going to make Glenn Langford any money.
No, Glenn Langford, we haven't forgotten about you, though. 5%, buddy. You still got time. You still got like 20 minutes, man. This can happen.
Well, this is bad news for Digital Dan. We just saw Jake fold 5-3.
You know what? I'm a little worried about Jake Dahl making a lot of money. If Jake Dahl makes any profit, minimum amount we're paying out is what? $100.
Let's
$100.
pay attention here. We got something
Oh,
developing
you're right.
here.
You're right.
Taylor has 3-bet with 2 9s, completely reasonable, and now Wonka has 2 kings.
Wow. Wonka's going to 4-bet this, I got to believe.
I really think he is. Now, with 2 good players in late position, these guys are both pros, it becomes very interesting because Wonka is well aware that Taylor is capable of stealing here.
Yeah.
So Taylor's going to be aware that Wonka is aware of that, and that Wonka's capable of a light 4-bet re-steal.
He is capable of it, but it's not something he's going to show up with very, very often.
This is the perfect condition for it, though.
It's a good condition. It's
The
not near-
hijack. The
it's
hijack
not near-
opens the.
I disagree. Digital Dan is the hijack. It's not like it's Aaron or Randy. Digital Dan is going to be one of the tighter. It's probably the tightest hijack at the table.
True.
Except maybe,
But he
maybe
has,
Jake Dahl.
He has a wide enough range. Obviously, his 5-3 suited. And look at this. Randy has ace king suited.
I like this just call by Randy. I think this is probably the best way
I
to
mean,
play
yeah.
this.
What are you gonna 5-bet fold? That would not be great.
I mean, that's your only option, right? 5-bet fold or 5-bet what? 5-bet when they call, hope it all works out?
Yeah, I don't think it. Yeah, it's kind of a crappy spot out of position, but I don't know if there's much else you can do.
I think we have to call and hope it doesn't go raise. Even honestly, even if Taylor just puts in a big raise here, we may have to fold ace.
I
king.
think we may, although most likely Taylor will just call and set mine here, right?
Oh, in this case, yeah, with 2 9s. But if Taylor had a bigger hand or decided to make a bluff here, which I wouldn't expect him
What do
to
you think Taylor would
almost
do with ace king? You think he would just move it in? He had like 1.4K to start the hand.
Once Randy calls, he might decide, well, Randy's got 2 jacks, and I'm blocking aces and kings. Let's go. Like, now there's so much. I'm getting it at the right price. Even if I get
Yeah.
called by queens, it's fine.
Well, that flop, although it is good for Wonka in this case, should be a little bit scary.
Yeah.
Because Randy definitely played his hand so far like he has pocket jacks, pocket tens, pocket nines, pocket queens.
He's got all those. He's got ace king and maybe ace queen suited, right?
So 2 of those hands just made a set.
Yeah, it's not great at all.
Taylor is just probably done with this.
I mean, if we're Wonka here, it's not crazy to value bet, but are we just going to bet fold?
See, that's where it gets really
Tough.
tricky against a player like Randy, who
Yeah.
is very capable of bluffing, but the board is all over his set range.
Yeah. We do have the king of hearts in our hand, too, so it makes it a little harder for Randy to have a flush draw.
Yeah,
can have
queen
ace-
of hearts or ace king of hearts or something.
Yeah, I don't think he'd ever really have king, queen of hearts here.
I don't know. It
anyway.
is Randy. He might.
It's at least possible. but
Randy
we don't
decides
even-
to call, by the way. He's got the backdoor nut flush draw and the
and
the
overs,
Broadway draw.
And overs and the gut shot. It's a lot. It's
It's a
fine to
lot.
call it once.
All right, so this is where Wonka needs to make kind of a big decision. And the decision is this. Do I want to try to get 1.5K more in this pot? Would that be
Right.
profitable for me to try to do that against Randy's range here?
That's
or
the-
should I not try to go for all 3 streets?
Right. I mean, if he bets here, he's betting with the intention, I have to believe, of calling off a check raise, even though it's not a great spot. Maybe queens would just check raise all in at this point if you bet $600, because I figure what the heck. Also, any draw that's going to go with it is probably just going to move in. So Wonka's got to decide that. Also, let's not forget, Randy is known to be a bluffer, and maybe if he doesn't have
checks
anything,
here, by
yeah,
the way.
we can set up a bluff catcher on the river.
If Randy has a missed draw, maybe Randy will bluff, yeah.
We also saw Randy bluff ace high not too long ago against Digital Dan. Randy could try and get him Wonka off a chop, but he does not. He
All
just
right,
checks.
Wonka needs to go for value now.
Of course. The question is,
would-
how do we want to size it?
It would be real crappy if we got check shoved on. I don't know what you would do if that happened.
I think you take a lot of time and contemplate your life.
Yeah.
Maybe
Just
call
be-
up some Three's Company episodes on Hulu.
Right. And I know that sounds like a bad scenario, but of course that'd be way too tight. We have to go for some value.
course.
Randy could have ace jack suited. You could have 2 queens.
This is an easy slam dunk value bet. It just is if we get raised, we hate our life, and I'm not sure what our plan is. Our plan might be just to fold against
might
Randy.
be.
You
We
don't
let-
see Randy making too many check raise all ins on the river
No.
without having it.
We left ourselves a lot of room to fold, by the way. We only bet 350 here.
That's true. That's true. On the other side, it makes the bet look a little weak.
Now Randy is contemplating this, thinking about calling with ace high. Wonka would have had to be playing that table dynamic I mentioned pre-flop and just deciding to 4-bet Taylor because Taylor 3-bet the late position opener and have a bluff here for Randy to make this call.
It's also possible Wonka himself could have ace king, and Randy might be considering calling for the chop.
Yeah, I think it's best just to fold in the end, though.
I
Even though
agree.
Wonka gave him a pretty good price, still probably right to fold.
I mean, if Wonka wanted to blow Randy off the hand, there was a way to do it, and it wasn't to bet 325.
No,
right?
it was
to
not.
bet like 800 or 700.
You know why they call him Wonka?
How come?
He dug a trench in his backyard and filled it with chocolate.
Really?
Yeah, year 2014. It made the Oregonian, our local paper here in Portland, Oregon.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
That's why they call him Wonka.
Yeah.
I did not know that at all.
It rained.
thought it was 'cause he-
rained the next day. It kind of ruined the whole thing.
I always thought it was because he was a big Fozzie Bear fan. Wonka.
All right. Meanwhile, Action Aaron's playing the King Deuce suited now. Everybody plays the King Deuce suited.
Yep, big fan. Everyone's a big fan. Once again, a limp. for Action
Wonka,
Aaron.
when he folds, the sadness is not just because his hand is not good enough to play. It's because he misses the chocolate river that was washed away by the rain. He didn't take into
Oh
account.
no, it was washed away.
Oh yeah, he didn't take into account the climate of the Pacific Northwest when he made the river.
Yeah, there's a lot of raining in the winter for sure.
Yeah.
That's a sad story.
He went with high-end chocolate too.
Oh really? Like Godiva?
Yeah, Ghirardelli, actually. You know,
Sure.
Keep it American.
So Batiste flops middle pair, gut shot, and a back door. No one else has anything. Expect him to win a lot here. Although it checks to Randy, and he is going to take a shot with ace high.
Randy likes to take a shot when it's checked to him.
This is the kind of board Randy often does decide to find a check with, but I guess he thinks his hand just isn't
this-
that good.
This looks like a raise from Batiste.
Huh. It is a raise.
It's a min raise. Okay, so
Why not?
let's see. There are some things that you accomplish here, obviously. You can knock Action Aaron out. You can get Action Aaron off of a better hand, in fact.
Yes, you also get to knock Randy out when Randy just has overcards.
When he has like King, Queen of Diamonds or
yeah,
something
he's just
like
going
that.
to fold.
Right. And Randy might decide to call with a 6 sometimes, so you could get some
Yeah.
value some of the time.
And an 8 as well.
All of that said, it's quite unconventional.
Absolutely. Like, often Action Aaron's just going to fold anyway, right? We
Yeah.
don't have to do anything to fold him out. He's usually going to fold. Although we've seen him call at times, too, with overs. And Randy might just decide to get stubborn because he's Randy. Or 3-bet you, by the way, as a bluff because he's Randy. We've seen that, too. He's the Terminator, you know? He will
Yeah.
not stop until you are dead.
That's
And by the way, that's not like a movie reference. I've actually seen him not stop until someone's dead.
that's not true. That's not true.
Okay.
Don't put that on the airwaves and say that's true.
Fine. It's just a joke. You've never killed anyone that I'm aware of.
Taylor opens with 2 4s.
Batiste with ace-3 suited. He could 3-bet here.
I imagine he'll call, though. It's a nice hand to play in position.
Yep.
It's also a nice hand to add into your 3-betting range, but calling's, of course, fine.
Yeah. Action Aaron, I gotta believe, is gonna find a call.
Oh, yeah, that's a reasonable call out of the big blind.
Sure. I mean, you could fold, too.
Batiste has a lot more in front of him than these other 2 guys.
Yeah, Taylor's defense.
Ooh,
Ooh, big
that's
flop for Batiste.
That's a nice flop for the Bapper. That's what we're going to call him.
I love that. Call him
He
the
checks
bapper.
it. He just checks it.
Wow. Oh, and look at that. 4 on the turn makes Taylor the best hand, and Batiste cannot see this coming.
That KG check is going to cost him.
Yes.
Not to say it was a bad idea. I think it's an interesting idea against people who might decide to bluff later, but
He calls. He's got 2 outs.
and he's got some cards that'll save him, like a 7.
A 7 would be great for him. Oh, that is.
Ooh, that's not going to save him.
Among the worst cards in the deck. There's 2 horrible cards. That was one of them. Now they've both filled up, and
That
they
is-
both have to believe they have the best.
That
hand.
is the worst card in the deck.
How
Oh,
could you not think you have the best hand right now if you're Batiste?
I mean, we'll see what Taylor does, I guess. Now, Taylor's thinking, should I go for a check raise or for value here? It looks like he's going to go for
I like
value.
betting. How much
It's
did he bet?
huge.
Oh,
Oh,
he
and
gets
Batiste
snapped.
snapped. Okay. So what happened there was Taylor bet way more than the pot, which is why Batiste
Yeah.
just called.
Yeah.
Now, Taylor is now seeing Batiste's hand, probably thinking, man, I
Whoops.
should have bet normal amount, and then
Yep.
Batiste is going to raise me and have a tough spot when I re-raise. Although he might not even re-raise. He might just call.
I
Taylor.
don't know. What's Taylor losing to? Pocket 7s?
Pocket 7s, pocket aces.
I mean, that's it, right?
Yeah.
And Batista's rarely going to show
Pocket
up with aces. Pocket 3s. Yeah, maybe you just call. It's close.
Depends on the
They're not
sizing.
that. The thing is, they're not deep enough. Because Taylor's the effective stack there. He probably just moves in. And
Depends
then I
on-
don't know what Batiste does. Batiste probably has to find the call. This was amazing. The fact that overbet just Batiste understood that it was a polarized spot.
I wonder what Batiste's limit size-wise would be where he felt like he had to raise Taylor.
I mean, if Taylor bets 60% of the pot, I just have to believe a raise is coming. I have to.
Circuit ring has nothing to do with you and I, how you run against me. You think, are you saying I'm wrong? I mean, over time, you've more than often had like the right side of the cooler. Am I wrong?
A Phil Hellmuthian rant there for Batiste to Taylor's Antonio Esfandiarian run good.
Yeah, he believes Taylor's run good against him lifetime. This is clearly not the first time these guys have played against each other. There are just some people like that for you, where it just feels like he can't beat him, and Batiste is feeling the frustration of that after losing that big pot.
Yeah. Interesting flop here. Jake with the open ender. Randy and Digital Dan both with top pair.
Bring a king for Glenn Langford one time.
Oh, Glenn Langford. This would be huge. Randy with top 2, especially if it's in the king of diamonds. He's going to pay off.
Now, the problem for Jake here is obviously that there are 2 diamonds on the board, so his outs aren't all clean.
No, but he does
We
have the
know
button.
they are, but he can't know that.
Yeah, this is a nice easy call for him. Digital Dan calling. Can't love that. If the king of diamonds comes off for the 8 of diamonds, he's not going to be in love with the card, but
No, I agree. That's a pretty
That's a brick.
bricky card right there.
let's see if Randy continues here. I expect he will.
I imagine he will. A lot of players will check back here 3 ways, but there are a lot of draws to charge out there.
Absolutely. Unless someone's slow playing, you almost always have the best hand.
Oh, and Randy goes for a big bet, and Jake just is forced to fold for the 240.
Randy sees all of the draws out there and doesn't want to just let people draw cheap. And he pushes out the big draw. And actually, Digital Dan often going to call here.
With the 1-pip worse hand.
Yeah, this is kind of a dream spot where you fold at the guy who's got all the equity. And look, 94% to 6 grand.
That's a pretty good ratio. Oh, Dan finds a fold.
Nice job.
It's possible that Dan picked something up in Randy's sizing. It's possible that he believes that if Randy was bluffing, his sizing would be a bit smaller. Or if Randy felt like he didn't have the best hand, his sizing would be a bit smaller. And Dan's picked up on that over time. These guys have played a lot together in recent weeks.
Yeah, that is true. I'm not sure if that's what it was. It's possible also he doesn't feel Randy's going to double barrel as much. Randy hasn't been doing that so much these last few episodes anyway. Put it all together, Digital Dan just finds a fold. He's also aware that if Randy has him, there's going to be a big bet on the river a lot of the time.
Yes.
And so you just avoid all of it.
The perfect fold, by the way. The 1-pip worst hand.
Amazing. Amazing.
I got to believe Randy's going to play this hand.
It seems impossible that he would fold, and indeed, it is impossible.
And what do we got
Jake
for Aaron?
Dahl just playing on his phone, folding the 7-3 off. That's what's going on.
We got the suited hands for Randy and Aaron. Unsuited for K6 and Digital Dan.
Well broken down.
It means something. Aaron flops best here, well,
Randy flops best.
Aaron flops the hand that is easiest to play.
Also has the best equity.
Yeah.
The most equity, at least for right now.
By 1%.
But still?
If this machine actually does math correctly, we've never checked it.
That is true also. And Randy no longer does actually Aaron have the best percentage, and it's gotten better for Randy now.
The usual suspects in this hand, a movie that has forever been tainted.
That's true. So Randy checks, and actually Aaron bets, and Randy, he's showing it and throwing it away. It's not a terrible fold by any means.
It's not expected from Randy,
No,
though.
usually he's going to call there, but 9-10 gets there, 9-6 gets there, Jack-10, Jack-9 all get there also. Those are all reasonable
10
holdings
with a
for
heart.
Aaron. Yeah.
10 with hearts.
Reasonable holdings for sure. And Aaron is often will check back. Sometimes he triple barrels, but not always, or double barrels even.
Right. So that fold may have been because Randy realized that, and I'm sure there were some elements of that. But also it may be because he's aware the session is winding down.
Yeah.
He's up. People tend to play a little bit tighter when the session's winding down and they're up.
No doubt.
We saw Wonka do it in our last session where he folded ace-10 on the button on the last hand because he just wanted to lock up a win, having coolered Batiste just a couple hands earlier.
That's right. Here's a real hand for Wonka. He's not locking it up just yet, I see. He's up again with the 9-8 suited, and Randy going to call, of course, with a real hand. Jake Dahl forced to call with the ace-queen.
All right, here we go, Jake.
Glenn Langford, there's time. There's time. Minimum $100, Glenn Langford. If we pay out, minimum $100.
We're going to get many, many players in this hand, it looks like.
More money for Jake Dahl to win.
All right. We're talking about the whole session, by the way, Glenn. Like,
of course.
The whole session.
Not just this hand.
And look at this. Wonka flops a flush. Taylor flops the nut flush draw. Jake flops 2 overs in the third nut flush draw.
Jake is drawing dead, but has a pretty good hand here, depending on how the action goes.
He's only drawing dead if Taylor continues in the hand.
Yeah, but it's unlikely. I guess if there's raises and things, but it seems unlikely that Taylor is going to fold in the hand, doesn't it?
Yes. Jake just gets out of the way.
I think it's a great fold. He's not drawing to the nuts. Other people could be.
All right, so Taylor has an interesting decision here.
Yes.
He has not only the nut flush draw, he knows his opponent does not have the nuts.
Of course.
He's aware that's impossible for his opponent to have. He can start telling the story of, I flop the nuts right now, because he knows perfectly well that it's impossible that anybody else could have it.
But what he also knows is that Wonka opened under the gun and then just bet into a sea of opponents, which means he's almost always pretty strong.
It's just an interesting spot because there's pros and cons to both decisions. When you just call, you're almost never going to get paid if you get there.
That's right.
But you're also not going to get blown off your hand, and you're not going to play higher variance. This is the lower variance option.
I mean, when Wonka bets, what's the worst hand he has? It's like 2 queens with the queen of clubs, right?
Yeah, you could
maybe
have
ace-jack with the ace of clubs?
Well, he doesn't.
Oh, no, that's right.
He could have ace-jack. He could just have normal ace-jack, I think.
And bet into all those people?
Yeah, I think so.
He might be bet folding.
And Wonka bets again, and Taylor just gives it
up.
Taylor could have still considered check raising the turn because that's the way some people will play the nuts some of the time.
Yeah, but as you said before about Wonka, Taylor with 1.6K is up in the session right now.
Yeah.
And maybe he's aware there's only a few minutes left and there's no reason to dust off, most of the buy-in or the full buy-in at this point. You can just hang out and not lose. And this stuff does matter. And some players are more affected by this than others. I'm not saying that's what Taylor was doing. He can't just call there when Wonka bets so much. So it's
Taylor is a good player and a balanced player who understands GTO elements of the game.
sure.
I believe that he just has some times where he's going to raise and sometimes when he's not going to raise there. Maybe he even just chooses whether his other card is red or black as the reason,
Possibly.
But I think you should raise there sometimes.
Yeah, you
and
have
should,
to.
and you should call there sometimes. You want to protect both ranges.
I hear you. I think that's right. Wonka being so strong, though, in terms of the under-the-gun range as well as then the flop range when he bets into everyone is pretty powerful.
Right. If you're going to attack a range, you don't want to attack the strongest of your opponent's ranges.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this hand here. We have a raise from Randy with the 8-5 off under the gun. Slightly wider under the gun range than Wonka has.
Yeah, slightly. He
Digital
does have the
Dan.
8 of clubs, though, which Wonka had.
So that's true.
Yeah, so that's a
That's a
good
great
point. You should have
point,
thought
yeah.
about that before you opened your trap.
I agree. Randy with the gutter. He's going to continue. I don't hate this.
Looks
Action
like
Aaron has top pair,
we're going to
though.
get the two guys who are always doing the stuff to be doing the stuff again here.
Yeah, I mean, Action Aaron in great shape is what I'll
yeah,
say.
yeah, gut shots.
He's got one of Randy's outs.
Yep,
How-
three outer here.
Yep. Actually, two. The 6 of hearts was folded as well. Oh, but in it comes.
Well,
Now Aaron's got 3 outs. The other way.
Randy Sulks, he's laughing. He's like, I can't believe it. I just made the nuts.
It is absurd, and it's if he knew that Aaron had Jack 6, he would
I
realize.
played 8-5 off under the gun, and look at me now.
Yep. If he knew that this was a cooler card, he'd be laughing even more.
Okay.
He would raise if he knew what Aaron had.
He does raise. He's got the nuts. I like this.
225. I don't think Aaron can possibly fold here.
It would be absurd to fold for 225. Absolutely absurd. You could be beat. Jack or a 6, no good.
That might kill the action though, because either guy could have a flush draw, especially Aaron.
Both of them check pretty quickly. Either one of them could have decided to value bet. I guess Aaron doesn't love the fact not just that it's a diamond, but also that it's the ace of diamonds.
Yeah, Randy could have made 2 pair there.
Yeah, if he was ace jack, which could have played the hand that way.
I think it was reasonable to play the hand the way they played it once they ended up in it.
Yeah.
I don't think they should have been in it pre-flop probably.
I mean, hey, they
But
play
people-
they play the way they play.
they play their ranges, that's
Yeah.
okay. But Randy's river decision is one of the more interesting things to me because I think checking to check call most of the time, depending on sizing, maybe if he shoves we can fold,
Yeah.
is a perfectly fine play. I think it's also fine to bet fold.
Yeah.
Bet for value and fold if we get raised.
Because you're generally getting raised by a hand that beats you. All right,
Yeah.
Batiste under the gun. We're really getting near the end of it here. This might be the last hand.
It might be.
Come on, Jake Dahl. One time. Hey, he did it. He's got the queens.
I believe this is the last hand, Jonathan.
You know what? I'm being told this is the last hand. All right. If Jake somehow finds a full double, we have to throw Len Langford something, whether... I mean, come on. We got to do something. Because I don't know if he makes any
You
money on a
want
full
to
double.
take it out of your pocket?
Fine.
I'm not in the free money business.
I'm in the business. I want to... Len Langford
Oh,
deserves
look at this.
something. Look at this.
Taylor's got ace king.
Oh, Taylor's gonna 4-bet. Jake's gonna get it in with him, and Jake's gonna be a favorite.
Were you doing
He's
a
gonna be a favorite
Jesse
for
May
this.
impersonation there? It sounded a
that's
little
what
bit
it
too
was.
excited.
Look, there's a dead ace. This is pretty awesome.
Now, I don't know.
$100.
Are you sure Jake's going to get it in here? I mean, like, it's.
I mean, look at his stack.
he opened.
He's got
He opened plus.
725.
He opened +1. He got a 3-bet by an early position player.
Yeah.
Taylor's 4-betting range is not amazing for queens.
It's not.
His stack size could make it so that he has to feel like he has to get it in anyway.
I feel like if he had 1,500, he might just fold.
Yeah.
With 725, it seems just crazy. Do you agree?
He's shaking his head.
He looks like a guy who might.
With this
Is
stack
he?
size.
Oh, there it
Lead.
goes.
I think that might be a slight mistake with just because of the stack size dynamics. That said, to be fair, Taylor's range does not bode well for Jake there.
I mean, how many times have we seen a cold 4-bet in this episode? Twice. It was kings and ace king,
Yeah.
right? So that's fair. And also, he does have to worry, as we were saying, about K6 behind him also, who has an uncapped range right now. Now, it turns out, look at Jake's face. He's unhappy that K6 folded.
Well, that's the last hand, so sorry,
Wow.
Glenn.
$100.
That's
no
the
good.
end of this session. We are done with this session of Poker Time. That doesn't mean we're done, though.
We're never done.
We'll be back next Tuesday with a new session, new players, new fun, new jokes related to chocolate.
Lots of new things. See you then.